Love you, Sam. No, no, Pyrex. I love having you here, man. You'd never lose VIP. Yeah, trinket procs, good old RNG. Okay, we're out of the ad. Let's watch this video. Let's see what it's about.
Greetings, travelers, and welcome to Azeroth, and another installment of our adventure through the world of Warcraft, looking for all of its hidden secrets and environmental Easter eggs. Today, we're headed to the homeland of the humans to explore part of the capital city that has become one of the most iconic parts of the franchise, Stormwind City. This has been part of the Warcraft lore since pretty much the beginning, and now acts as the headquarters for the Alliance, one of the two major factions within the game. Specifically, we're going to be looking at the Trade District. There's simply too much of the city to cover all at once in a timely manner. Regardless, we have a ton to talk about today. So, let's take a look at the Stormwind Trade District's secrets and Easter eggs. But before we get started, if you enjoy what I'm doing here, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more in the future. And if you never want to miss an upload, ring the bell. Seriously, doing so is the single best way to help the channel grow, and it lets me know what sort of content you want more of. We're also going to be releasing bite-sized bits of lore through shorts,
I'll subscribe to him if I like this.
And enjoy them too. Let's begin where players first step foot into the city, the Valley of Heroes. Just to the right of the main gates, here on your map, down close to the water below the bridge, you will find a small fishing wharf. On the dock, there are several supplies, a rowboat that probably isn't super useful in this small body of water, and a man named Jorgen fishing in the water. While in retail, Jorgen is just an NPC, and classic, he was part of a famous questline called The Missing Diplomat. Despite his humble appearance, he has a history with the spy network of the city, which is just an awesome way to give depth to an otherwise unimportant NPC. On the right side of the bridge leading into the city, here on your map, you will find Field Marshal Stonebridge. While there is nothing extraordinary about this character as she exists in-game, she was the replacement for Field Marshal Afrasiabi, a character named for disgraced former Blizzard employee.
Oh god. Oh no. They had to do a lot of this shit probably in game. That's great. Okay.
Employee Alex Afrasiabi.
Note to self: if I ever own a game company, do not name in-game characters after actual employees.
Stonebridge was hotfixed into the game after the allegations against Afrasiabi came to light, and making the choice to replace him was probably the right one. But I do think it's quite funny that the designers named this replacement in a way that seems like they literally looked around and saw a stone bridge. Maybe that's why she's named Stonebridge. Just inside the Trade District, here on your map, within the Stormwind Visitor Center, you will find the guild vendor Shay Pressler. Pressler was named after a former Blizzard employee who unfortunately passed away after a battle with cancer. It's always nice to see good souls immortalized in the game.
See, that's the right way to do it. Naming it after an employee just because he's a high-level employee, dumb. Naming it after an employee who sadly passed away from cancer, that's cool.
Beside Shay is a young boy named Adam Pressler. From my research, I found at least one source claiming that this was the name of the real-world Shay Pressler's son. Additionally, in this building you will find Rebecca Laughlin, who allows players to design their guild tabards. She's named after Lori Laughlin, who played the character Rebecca Katsopoulos in the television show Full House, thus the name Rebecca Laughlin.
The hell?
Also, this is super small, but just outside of the Stormwind Visitor Center, you will find an apple tree. This is a detail that's super easy to overlook, but I do love that you can see apples that have fallen onto the ground and the cobblestones. This is not the only apple tree in the city, but it is nice that the environmental artists went through the trouble of tweaking the textures. It just gives the world that little bit more life. Just across the main street, here on your map, you'll find the shop Trias's Cheese, run by the Trias family and their patriarch, Elling. Now, honestly, these characters deserve a video all to themselves, and they're fascinating and integral to the history of Stormwind. I'm not joking, they show up in several awesome storylines from the game. But for our purposes today, take a look around the shop and you'll notice that they definitely live up to their name. But what I'm most interested in is the fact that there are spawn points for several rat critters in the building, which is just some super flavor for world building.
Yeah, don't buy cheese from these people.
Rats love cheese, after all. The fact that the Triases do...
Nyora, thank you for the sub. Thank you. Death Knight of our Scourge. Thank you so much for using your Prime on me.
Nothing also makes me think that they might even be pets. That's adorable, and I love it. A little further up the street,
a cheese store with rats. Very creative.
You'll find the quest giver Renato Galena hawking his wine in front of Pessel's apothecary, pointing players to his family shop in the canals. If you talk to him, his gossip text will make numerous references to the Godfather trilogy. So, that's neat. Just
Damn.
across the street from Galena,
My dad loves The Godfather. That's a pretty
here
cool one.
on your map, you'll find the general goods shop Everyday Merchandise. Inside, you'll find the bag vendor Dawn Redu. The items she sells are part of her carriage collection, which is a reference to the real-world brand Coach Incorporated, which
What?
sells luxury purses and handbags. Even the individual names of her items are references to Coach products. The Maddie high-tech bag being named after the Coach Madison collection, for example.
Dude, there are so many Easter eggs here that I never realized existed. What the hell? These are
In
named
the
after
square
real
of the
Coach
Trade
bags?
District, here on your map, you'll find the weapon shop Weller's Arsenal. While nothing
I have repaired in this place. When I played Alliance, which I've done for the majority of my wild life, this was my go-to repair
here
spot.
is of interest to us
And I only repaired with the guy. Never with the girl. Only with the guy NPC.
in retail,
Sex is
the
sin.
shop was also the home of a weapon trainer Wu Ping and Vanilla and Classic. Ping has long since been
Right
removed.
there. Right there. That's my man. That's my official repair man. I only repair with him.
From the game with the release of Cataclysm, after weapons training was removed from the game entirely. His disappearance with the release of Cataclysm made him the subject of a meme that saw him fight Deathwing to a standoff. Ping may have also been a reference to Wu Ping Yoon, a martial arts
That's pretty cool.
choreographer and fight coordinator famous for his work in Hong Kong cinema and Western films like The Matrix Trilogy and Kill Bill.
That would be cool if
It
that
makes
was the
sense
case.
why he'd be a weapons trainer in that case, wouldn't it? Outside in the square, here on your map, outside of the door of the building that used to contain the Stormwind auction house, you'll find an NPC named Ian Drake. He was added to the game for players who attended the 2008 Worldwide Invitational to redeem codes for the
Nice.
Tyrael's Hill.
Remember, this used to be the entrance, I believe, for the auction house. It's closed now, but that was where you'd go in. This was original Vanilla WoW's auction house entrance, if I remember right.
Stormwind auction house, you'll find an NPC named Ian Drake. He was added to the game for players who attended the 2008 Worldwide Invitational to redeem codes for the Tyrael's Hilt pet, inspired by the Diablo character of the same
Very cool
name.
pet.
Fittingly, his appearance and title are a reference to the Diablo character Deckard
Yep.
Cain.
That makes
In the
sense.
Stormwind counting house, here on your map, you'll find one of the city's banks. It's a cool building just in general, and there's a lot of rad details if you take a closer look at its interior. Behind each of the bankers, you'll see piles of books and documents, records of all the financial transactions within the city, as well as wanted posters for less savory folk who might try to walk in and rob the bank.
I never knew.
Additionally, I
Never
even love
noticed
that the bankers have quills and inkwells at their stations for any documentation that needs to be signed. Also, while this may or may not change at some point in the near future, at least during the time of
Peace,
recording,
thanks
it
for the
appears
bits,
that
man.
there's a couple of Darnassian refugees having an argument in the lobby. Awkward. Each of
Yeah, well, that's some pretty good world building right there. The husband and wife at the bank arguing about the account. Yep. Yeah, Tundra Freeze, 100 bits. Thank you, man. Holy shit. Thank you for the bits. I appreciate that. Yeah, there is some lore that we can determine from these two. She's wondering why the account is missing some things, and he's trying to convince her that those things were never in there to begin with. Turns out he's sleeping with some Stormwind citizen, right? And he's been treating her and whining and dining her, and that's why their account is short. She's not having it. She's about to give him some.
awkward.
I think that's what
Each of
happened
the
there.
bankers here is also part of either the West Mill or Burnside
They're both
families.
dead now. What? Are you serious?
And if you take a
Boomer
look
humor,
at their
yeah.
first names, each line up with a real-world figure.
Thanks for the hype
Academy
train.
Award-winning actress Kirsten Scott Thomas and Grammy Award-winning musician Olivia Newton-John. Across from the counting house, here on your map, you'll find the Stormwind auction house. Similarly, this building is packed with detail, tons of items from across Azeroth and beyond packed behind the auctioneers waiting to be
very
sold
cool.
off. Goods and resources, ore and ingots, metals and blueprints, armor, weapons,
really never paid
books,
attention to this stuff.
scrolls, and gemstones. It's
very cool, though.
Most importantly, an Elec plush. Additionally, auctioneer Chilton may be named after Tom Chilton, a former lead programmer of World of Warcraft now working on the
I do see some similarities.
mobile game Warcraft Arclight Rumble. Likewise, auctioneer Fitch may be named after Bob Fitch, the engineer-director at Blizzard who has been with the company since 1992. That's
Damn.
longer than I've been alive.
Holy
Further
shit.
into the city, here on your map, outside of the empty quiver bowyer shop, you'll find a gnome hunter named Midgie. Beside her rests a sleeping polar bear named Mangeclaw. This is actually a really rad little reference. Mangeclaw is a bear players can find and fight in Dunmoreau while questing in the early levels. So it appears that Midgie, this brave little hunter, tamed Mangeclaw and now travels Azeroth with them.
What the hell? Who would think that this is a random bear NPC that you fight and she's tamed it and brought it here to Storm?
That's the canon I'm going to choose to believe. A little further around the edge of the trade district, here on your map, you'll find the barbershop Northshire Abbey.
Yeah.
First of all, that name is so clever. A play on the human starting zone of Northshire Abbey.
Yes.
Inside, you'll find many bits and bobs typical of barbershops. Brushes and razors, a sink and broom, posters with hairstyles, and wigs.
What? I've never noticed this. Oh my god. What the hell is this? This is the fade right here. This is the fade that gets you laid, that's for sure.
Styles.
You gotta go with that
and
one.
Horns on small busts of goblins. The main barber here is a gnome named Jelinek Sharpshear, who is perhaps named after former Blizzard artist Jonathan Jelinek. Interestingly, Jelinek wasn't always the barber here. This establishment used to be owned and run by a goblin named Sui Nitad, before Jelinek took over and replaced Nitad in the Cataclysm expansion.
Once the goblins became Horde, he probably got kicked out of his shop.
If you didn't pick up on it, the old
Sweeney
goblin
Todd
was
is
a
a pretty
reference
good
to
one.
the popular musical Sweeney Todd, about a murderer who cut hair and shaved beards for a living. And just building on that Easter egg, if you go upstairs into the bedroom of the owner, you can look under the bedside table and notice two small gnomish skeletons hidden under the floorboards.
What
A
the-
razor looms ominously over them, again leaning into that Sweeney Todd reference. Just outside of Northshire Abbey,
Holy shit, that's creepy as hell.
find a boy named Finn who will sell players cosmetic glasses items. Finn was added by developer
Never bought
Russ
anything from
Peterson
Finn.
and named after the son of former Blizzard artist Ashley Warner. So that's a sweet little reference. Up at the top of the Griffin Roost, here on your map, you'll find the Flightmaster Dungar Longdrink amidst the
Yep.
straw and griffins ready to send adventurers wherever they may need to go.
I always thought Dungar had some of the coolest shades in the game. This guy's he don't fuck around. Look at that beard. Look at those shades.
You have almost surely seen Longdrink if you've ever visited Stormwind or even played Hearthstone.
Oh,
you
yeah.
might not have ever actually stopped to talk to him. His gossip text is written with a thick Scottish accent, and his name is more
Oh, really?
reminiscent of a dwarf than a traditional human. That's led some to believe that Dungar here was at some point supposed to be a dwarf before being switched out for his current iconic model. Or if we want to have some fun and speculate, perhaps he picked up the accent from spending too much time with the Wildhammer dwarves, one
Yeah,
of the main
maybe, that makes
sources of
sense.
griffins for the Alliance. That's a more in-universe explanation and the one I'm going to choose to believe. In the canals on the outside of the trade district, here on your map, you'll find the florist shop Fragrant Flowers. Inside you'll find the florist Bernard Gump and the herbalism
Valentine's Day is
supplier
coming up.
Felicia Gump. Though not immediately apparent, these two may have been references to the Tom Hanks
Oh,
film Forrest
shit.
Gump. After all, they are Florist Gumps. Additionally, if you ever
That's a good one.
stop by here, talk to the girl that they have helping run the shop, little Adeline. You'll get a fun little temporary aesthetic buff. On a dock in the
Didn't know
canals
that.
here on your map, you will come across an incredibly strange scene. A night elf man named Kyle Reduce stands above the water, holding an unconscious gnome named Chris Miller in his arms.
What?
Next to them is the hot coffee vendor named Travis Nichols. Miller appears to have just about a third of his health left. Given the scene, it appears to me that Chris was drowning in the river somehow and Kyle jumped in to rescue him. And now they're just waiting for Chris to wake up so Travis can serve up some hot coffee.
I actually thought that this was more like a fight scene had happened and they're trying to get something out of him. Maybe he had stolen some coffee. This is the bodyguard right here and he's fucked him up pretty bad and he's just hanging him over. Tell us where the coffee is, bitch. That's what I thought when I saw this scene.
Strange sight, but it doesn't stop there. Kyle Redu and Chris Miller are references
Never alone, Tundra Freeze. You have this stream after all.
to real former Blizzard employees Kyle Redu and Chris Miller. And though hot coffee has a different connotation in some video games, Travis Nichols is actually a reference to the children's book author of the same name, who had many of his works published under Coffee House Press. That's a deep cut, that one. Further along the Trade District canals, here on your map, you'll come across the jewelry shop Denman Family Jewelers. Along with various bits
Never
and
been here.
baubles, heart-shaped gems, and jewels, you'll find various NPCs hawking their wares. One of them is named Farrah Fawcett, an obvious reference to the real-world actress Farrah Fawcett, so that's neat. Further along the Trade District canals, here on your map, you'll come across the cloth merchants at the Canal Tailor and Fit Shop. This business is run by the Schneider family. Schneider translates to tailor in German, so it's fitting. Though I do have to wonder now what the Azerothian equivalent of Germany is. Again, further along the Trade District canals, here.
What would be the Azerothian equivalent to Germany? I have no answer to that. Nope. It's very obvious, like, what's it called? You know, where the Worgen are and shit? That whole city is, you know, very English-inspired, right? What would be German, though? What humans would be German? They'd probably be some humans that have spent time around the dwarfs, right? They like the Brewfest and stuff. That's a very German thing.
On your map, you'll find another dock with the couple Arnold and Catherine Leland fishing on it. They offer to train new players how to fish and sell them the necessary equipment to do so. The couple may be a reference to Leland
Gilneas
Fly Fishing Outfitters, a high-quality brand for fishing products. In the canals between the Trade District and Old Town, around here, on your map, you'll find a trio of NPCs named Rin Arsane, Sokka Kid, and Mei Kota, speaking to each other near a large fountain. All three appear to be references to characters from the Japanese RPG Persona 5.
Oh.
Rin is the canonical name of the protagonist
I don't know anything
Joker
about
in
this
the game.
Persona
One
5.
of the first personas he gets is Arsane. That's the one that he uses in Super Smash Bros. Sokka Kid is named for Ryuji Sakamoto and even borrows his spiky blonde hair, combined with the persona Captain Kid. And finally, Mei Kota is named after Makoto Najima, another main character from the game. Wandering the Canal District, particularly in front of the Trade District, you may come across a woman named Elizabeth Birdsong, followed by her companion, a bird named Melody. She's wearing a blue dress with white accents, and has short, raven-colored hair. If you speak to her, she will say a variety of different gossip texts, referencing that she's not from around the area, that the possibilities in life are infinite, and commenting on how interesting-looking the doors are here. Elizabeth is a reference to the character Elizabeth Comstock from the classic BioShock Infinite, and her—
I see that. I never played BioShock, but I do see the resemblance here. Yeah, very uncanny.
from the classic BioShock Infinite, and her ability to cross into different realities. Even her hair and dress are very similar to what Elizabeth wears in BioShock. Her last name, Birdsong, and companion Melody are references to her protector in that game, the mechanical songbird, who is controlled by a short song melody. This is such a cool Easter egg, and I love the idea that it kind of opens up the Warcraft universe to other crossovers. I don't think anything like that's going to happen, but it really matches the tone of BioShock Infinite if you've ever played that game. So cool, this one's a win. Just outside of Stormwind within Elwynn Forest, you can actually find one of the most tragic Easter eggs in the series. A memorial to a man named Brad Breidenbecker. There's a ton more in Elwynn Forest, so you should go check out my video covering all of the secrets in that zone while I work on the next part of our Stormwind adventure. Please remember to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more. You can also ring the bell so you actually know when new videos go up. Oh, and hey, if you want some more short-form content, go check out the shorts on the channel too. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time.
Very cool. Very cool. I had never seen full motion videos before. This guy is he's got some cool stuff though.